Have you ever felt a deep burden for something that's broken? A situation in your community, your family, or even your own life that just weighs on your heart? Today, we're diving into the story of a man who felt just that, a man named Nehemiah, and how his burden sparked one of the greatest rebuilding projects in history. Our story begins in the winter palace of Susa, in ancient Persia. Nehemiah is a cupbearer to the powerful King Artaxerxes. It's a position of immense trust and privilege. He has a comfortable life, living in the lap of luxury. But one day, some of his kinsmen arrive from Judah, his homeland. Nehemiah eagerly asks them, "How are things back in Jerusalem? How are the people who survived the exile?" The news he receives is devastating. The survivors are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been destroyed by fire. Imagine hearing that the city of your heritage, the symbol of your faith and people, lies in ruins. For Nehemiah, this isn't just bad news. It's a gut punch. The comfort of the palace suddenly feels meaningless. He sits down and weeps. For days he mourns, fasts, and prays. This is our first major lesson from Nehemiah. True change often begins with a burdened heart. He didn't just hear the news and say, "Oh, that's too bad." He let the brokenness of his people break his own heart. His prayer is incredible. He starts by acknowledging God's greatness and faithfulness. Then he confesses, not just the sins of his ancestors, but his own sins and his family's sins. He takes personal responsibility. This is humility in action. He reminds God of his promises to gather his people back if they return to him. And finally, he makes a specific request. "Give your servant success today by granting him favor in the presence of this man." He's talking about the king. He knows he can't fix this problem alone. He needs the king's permission and resources. Months go by. Nehemiah is still carrying this heavy burden, but he continues his duties. One day, while serving wine to the king, his sadness is visible on his face. This was a big deal. You did not look sad in the presence of the king. It could be seen as a sign of a plot or discontent and could cost you your life. King Artaxerxes notices and asks, "Why does your face look so sad when you are not ill?" This can be nothing but sadness of heart. Nehemiah is terrified, but he sees his opening. This is the moment his prayer was leading up to. He tells the king about the city of his ancestors lying in ruins. The king, moved by Nehemiah's genuine sorrow, asks a simple yet profound question. "What is it you want?" Before answering, Nehemiah does something crucial. The Bible says he prayed to the God of heaven. It was likely a quick, silent prayer of "Me, God" moment. Then, with courage, he lays out his plan. He asks for letters of safe passage to Judah and for a letter to the keeper of the king's forest, so he can get timber to rebuild the city gates, the wall, and the house for himself. He didn't just have a burden, he had a plan. And what happens? The king grants his requests. Nehemiah gives all the credit to God, saying, "Because the gracious hand of my God was on me." The king not only gives him the letters, but also sends army officers and cavalry with him for protection. When Nehemiah finally arrives in Jerusalem, he doesn't just rush in and start shouting orders. For 3 days, he rests and assesses the situation. Then, one night, he secretly goes out with a few men to survey the damage for himself. He rides around the broken-down walls and burned gates, seeing the full extent of the devastation firsthand. He needed to understand the problem completely before he could present a solution. After his nighttime inspection, he gathers the officials, priests, and nobles. He doesn't start by saying, "The king sent me to fix this." He starts by identifying with them. He says, "You see the trouble we are in." He creates a sense of shared purpose. Then, he casts a vision. "Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace." He backs it up by sharing how God's gracious hand has been upon him and what the king has promised. The people's response is immediate and powerful. They say, "Let us rise up and build." So they began this good work. Nehemiah's story is a powerful blueprint for making a difference. It starts with a heart that's broken for the right things. It moves into prayerful planning and patient waiting. It requires the courage to speak up when the opportunity arises and the wisdom to have a well-thought-out plan. And finally, it's about inspiring others to join in a shared vision. So, What's breaking your heart today? What is the wall in your life or community that needs rebuilding? Perhaps, like Nehemiah, you're the one God is calling to rise up and build. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that helps us apply ancient wisdom to our modern lives. See you next time.